everyone, I'm Lee Hogan and welcome to another massive show of MXTV. I'm joined as usual by Brendan Bell. Welcome, Belly.
Thanks, mate. You know what? I can't wait for tonight's show.
Neither can I, because this week we head back over to the United States of America where we check in with a couple of the Aussie boys. When we drop in with veteran Michael Byrne and spend some time with the new kids on the SuperCross block at the JDR KTM Motor X team. While in the US, we catch up with the First Lady of Supercross and Motocross and good friend of the show, Erin Bates. Closer to home, we drop in to see what's been happening in the trials scene. And in our bike review this week, we switch things up a bit when we take a look at the Kawasaki KLX140.
All in all, another cracker show, Hogs. I can't wait to get into it.
Neither can I, mate. But first up tonight, just for something a little bit different, we're taking it off the dirt and onto the bitumen with two of the biggest names in world superbikes, Troy Corser and Leon Haslem. The two BMW Motorrad Aces recently took some time out after the Australian GP to do a little bit of touring around the Victorian High Country, and we were lucky enough to tag along.
We've got two of the world's best superbike racers and we've invited them to come along on a GS ride to leave the Phillip Island circuit and basically head north up into the mountains. They're very different to the bikes the boys race, but they're a lot of fun, and these guys are freaks on motorcycles, so it's only going to take them a few minutes, and I expect they'll just be drifting them around and wheeling them through creeks. And we've got some great routes out here that we know, mixture of on-road and off-road, great twisty mountains, creek crossings, and end up in a beautiful town called Jamison up in the mountains by the river.
So it was a great opportunity, you know. It's part of the country I haven't seen. Been born and raised here in Australia, I've never actually seen the roads that we rode around today. It's probably the most amount of occasions I've done on an off-road bike in a day. You know, I've done a few more on a road bike.
To actually have a day off and just go riding, which obviously we all love to do, and you know, see the scenery that we've seen today, and you know, going through rivers and you know, being on top of mountains and on top of ski slopes. I think we ended up at one point. You know, it's just a fantastic day.
We really know from experience and try to tell the whole group that every time you're going around a blind corner, you should expect a bull bar to be coming the other way.
Kind of had to dive on the wrong side of him to miss him, but you know, he wasn't going ridiculously fast, but you know, it definitely makes your heart bump a little bit.
Around the bends you can't see, you've got to take a little bit careful just in case something is coming the other way. So a lot of risk if you end up getting tangled up with something, you're going to get hurt. So a long way away from some help. Now we'll take it easy, it's all good.
I actually grew up off-road, you know, motocross was my background, but you know, bikes are bikes for me. I recently got into trials just because I had to go on a trials bike and I was so bad, and you know, that's not good in the Haslem way. You cannot be bad on a bike, and so me and my dad ever since have just been flat out trials riding.
I've also started to get into the trials a bit too, because it's good for your balance and concentration and stuff like that, and it really tests your skills out. You know, you're going probably the slowest that you can ever go compared to what we do on the road bikes. You know, we're doing 300 kilometres per hour, and on the trials bike you're trying to stand still for as long as you can.
First time for me on the GS, so you know, I was quite amazed actually how good it is on and off the road, and you know, to go from getting your knee down nearly on the tarmac to you know, sliding around on the gravel and the dirt, it's been a great day.
And my father's actually got one. I haven't had a chance to take it out for a ride yet, so now when I go back I'll at least be able to do some wheelies on his.
Any bikes for us is good fun, especially when you can mix the two, off-road and road riding. It's you know, it's always good days out.
Boots look brand new.
Yeah, all cleaned up now for tomorrow.
Yeah, big thanks to the boys there. There was some close calls, but all in all, just a couple of boys that really like riding their motorcycles. And to another bloke that likes riding his motorcycle, particularly dirt bikes, is Aussie veteran Michael Byrne. Now, the Byrne has ridden for some of the biggest factory teams on the planet, and he continues to be one of our highest ranked Aussies abroad. And Belly got to catch up with him recently in the States just to find out a little bit about life in general.
Well, we've caught up with our good friend and everyone else at Australia's good friend, Michael Byrne. Michael, welcome to MXTV again. Great to see you here at BTO.
Yeah, it was good to see you guys here. I was a little shocked. You caught me off guard. I was like, hey, what's happening? Good to see you guys over here.
Now, mate, unfortunately, we've caught you a week before you go riding because you're back next week. How is that risk going?
It's good now, you know. It just complicated, I guess, to say that the injury, it was a wrist dislocation, so it wasn't like just throw it in a cast and off you go, you know. Put it all back into place, had to have pins in there holding it in place, so, you know, that was nearly 3 months ago now, so it just takes a long time to heal and got to be patient.
Now, Bernard, patience is something that you must have in abundance because it is unbelievable. Every time you get a high, you seem to get a low. How do you deal with that?
I think you just become numb to it, I guess, after you've done it for so long. I mean, it's a good thing I know how to come back from it, but it's not a good thing to go through every time.
Now with the BTO team, back on the Suzuki, how's that going?
Everything was going great, you know, before Paris and before I got hurt. I really like the Suzuki. I feel comfortable on it. It suits my style. You know, I'm super happy with how my bike is now. I've been riding for a couple of weeks, so trying to get my hands stronger and 2 more weeks of SuperCross and then get back out there.
And how's life been in general, mate? All the guys want to know. You obviously just recently married and everything, and how's it all going?
Life in general is great. Everything outside of racing is really good for me. Just this whole injury thing, you know, that's the cloud that hangs over me. So I'm a lucky guy. I mean, I got a lot of good things in my life, and the sports gave me a lot. So I can't be too bummed out, even if I get an injury, you know. You've
signed a 2-year deal with BTO, which is fantastic. We're going to see you in motocross as well.
Yeah, the deal's a 2-year deal, motocross and supercross. So, you know, hopefully I can just get over this hump and, you know, get a little luck on my side and be good.
Now, Michael, we ask it all the time. We know, coming on to the twilight of your career, what happens when Michael Byrne retires riding? Is he coming back to Australia? We're going to see him back there, or is USA at home now?
It'll all depend on what opportunities come up for me, you know, when I'm done. That's really the main thing. You know, what job offers come up. You know, I still want to have something to do with the industry, whether it's Australia or here. The industry's given me everything that I've had in my life, so, you know, I'd love to be able to give back, whether it be helping another rider or running a team or doing something like that.
Oh, mate, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for taking the time out. We'll see you next time we're over.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. Cheers.
Welcome back to MXTV. Well, trials is a discipline of the sport that probably doesn't get the attention that it deserves, but it's an area of the sport that has some great things happening in it, as we found out as we headed out to a recent event, so let's check it out.
The Melbourne Moto-Trials Centre that we're standing in is the only metropolitan facility in Melbourne. Lots of people come down here on a Sunday or a Thursday night during daylight saving, come down, have a practice. We're very hot on safety. For families to come down, bring their kids, build up the skills. You know, trials will build those skills that are transferable to all disciplines. And you can see from some of the action today that some of those skills are pretty amazing.
Firstly, to have a venue so close in the heart of metropolitan Melbourne is phenomenal, and to see so many people here who aren't part of the Motor Trials fraternity, but to come out and get a look and see what it's like. The club here at Oakley and the Motor Trials committee who've put it together have done a really good job, and it's fantastic for people to come and see these guys out doing what they do, and it's been wonderful.
This could be described as an arena trial setup that we've got going. We've set 4 sections particularly designed to showcase the sport. Trials is a very safe sport. There's no speed involved, and as the riders progress up through the grades, we find that they do perfect the art of the graceful dismount. We set the section specifically for the different grades, so there's nothing that's overly dangerous in a section. So there's a wonderful feel amongst the trials community, and we've even seen here today the top level expert riders competing against each other, but also as a group effectively competing against whoever it was who set the section. And you'll see the expert riders helping each other out and talking about the lines that they're going to run and how they're going to beat the section.
Even in World Championship, you get all the top riders, they'll be looking at a section and discussing lines. I mean, once they're in the section, you know, it's definitely on their own, you know, I don't help them then, but certainly trying to get a few ideas about. When you walk in the section, you see a line, you'll pick it out, and automatically when you see it, you'll know how you want to ride it, where you want to use the clutch, where you don't, what gear you want to be in, where you want to put the revs on, all the different grip points, you know. You're looking for the best line to make it as easy as possible for yourself, really, you know. There's no point in making stuff hard for yourself if there's a smooth line, or if you go over one big rock rather than going over 5 little ones, it's often easier. For a lot of riders that have been riding a long time, it's just an automatic thing. It's in the blood, really. Trials is certainly one of the nicer motorsports, I'd say. You know, a lot of people racing anyway, it's very much dog eat dog, and because you're riding actually with someone else, there's a few crashes and a few T-bones and whatnot, but you have to do it. But the nice thing about trials is it's completely individual, it's you against the course.
Alex was part of a development camp that we had here last week. Just watching the way he rides here, I mean, as a former world champion, you watch him ride and you think, geez, you know, is it that hard? And some of the rocks that he's climbing up and some of the steep inclines are just phenomenal. So just to be able to see what it takes to ride at that top level and just how skillful they are, it's really important to have guys like him out here so we can see what we're aspiring to.
Oh, not quite. He was nearly there, Hogs. What about those trials riders? They've got some great skill, haven't they?
They certainly do, Belly. Now, while we're on the subject of trials, we should make mention Australia has recently secured a round of the 2012 FIM World Trials Championships. It'll be great to see the Aussies up against the best in the rest of the world.
That's right, Hogs, and congrats to the guys there at MA and Trials Victoria for getting it sorted as well. Now, talking about taking on the rest of the world, what about the JDR KTM team, Aussie run, Aussie owned, taking on the USA teams over there in America? We thought we'd drop in and see what they're all about.
I was fortunate to have a pretty long professional racing career. I did it for like 16 years. You know, probably more downs than ups, but you know, that's the life of a racer. And now to piggyback onto a career as a team manager and being connected, staying in the sport, it's really a blessing for me, and I'm real happy to be a part of this. I was just kind of training some guys, working with some younger riders, up and coming guys, and coaching them. You know, I knew about the JDR team in Australia, and I heard a buzz that they might be interested in trying to put something together over here. And Jay Reinenberg, out of the blue, kind of said, hey, you know, I just wanted to touch base with you. Here's what we'd like to do, and, you know, see if you're interested. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm interested, but yeah, I'll probably see you in like 2 or 3 years, you know? And the next thing I know, he said, okay, I'm gonna call you back in like 2 months, and I'm gonna have this and this done. Sounded like a really nice guy. I asked a bunch of people about him and kind of checked in a little bit to see what their reputation was and stuff. They're really fresh to the sport, even in Australia, and no one could say anything bad about them. And I was like, okay, this sounds kind of cool. And then when he called me and he was like, okay, we got the race shop, we got this, and I started going, wow, let's do it. With the Australian side of things, there's a little different take on it. You know, you got the guys over here who've done it for year in and year out, and they kind of in their rhythm of how they do it. But I think it's really cool to have someone come in from a completely different kind of thought process and really be thinking outside the box, and that's what I really liked about it. Look at our setup. I just think that the image of this team and the presence in the pit is really nice, because our team structure is really strong and really professional. Well, we have hands-on team owner, then you got myself as a team manager, and then we have a crew chief. which is the technical side of things, you know, kind of beyond the office doors into the shop area. Vince Barini is our crew chief, and he's been instrumental in organizing that side of things and making the bike the best that it can be and keeping the mechanics on their toes. And everybody who's connected to this team wants to cover all the details and be a completely legit setup. It's a really good structure. To be a team that's a winning team in Australia, they just said, you know what, we want to go to the most competitive circuit there is. Let's go to the US and let's start a team and let's strive to be the #1 team there. It's a huge financial commitment, and that's why you see teams kind of come and go. And it's $1 million plus operation to get this thing, and to do it the right way. You can do it for cheaper, but it would show. And we're not going to be kind of in one year and out the next year. And these guys, they're committed to the program, and you know, they want to win. They do not like to lose. For this year, we knew it was going to be a year for us to get our feet planted, get some people to notice us and realize that we're serious about it. And it's a tough class, you know. I think for Ryan Marmont coming over here and doing the lights class, he's exceeded our expectation. You know, he was going to do 2 rounds and just have some fun with it, and then he was successful. And then, you know, you got Ty, and then Dan's been helping out some too now that he's back from his injury. And I think that it's steps. For Ty, it was obviously to qualify. I think ultimately by the end of the year, we want to see him get some top 10 finishes. And that's very realistic. I think it's possible. I think we're all going to be pretty happy. If for some reason it takes off and we start winning a lot of races, then obviously that would be the ultimate thing of what we're all doing this for. And then in the future, you'll see us step the program up a little bit more even in year 2 and go for more wins. I mean, that's what we want to do, is get there as quick as we possibly can. So I like to say we go from where we're at this year into a top 5 to podium situation for everybody. And then, you know, from there, we're going for championships.
Yeah, big thanks to Nathan and the JDR guys. They're certainly having an impact in the AMA scene, that's for sure. Now, Erin Bates is someone who knows all about that with her role as reporter for the AMA Motocross and Supercross broadcasts. She's no stranger to the show and barely got to catch up with her recently.
All right, now we've caught up with the best looking lady in Supercross, Erin Bates. Erin, welcome back to MXTV. Great to see you again.
Thank you. It's great to be seen again. It's good to see you guys back here. You know, you're a long way from home.
We are, and it's been a while since we've been here. Great day, A2. Must mean a lot to you.
Yes, you know, this is awesome. It's just a good feeling to be back. Everybody's having a lot of fun, but the season's been amazing racing. We couldn't have asked for anything better. So.
And you've been commentating for a few years now. You're still loving it?
I love it. I'm passionate about it. I live, eat, and breathe it. It's been 10 years between freestyle and Supercross. I've been around a day or 2.
Throughout those 10 years, I know you would have interviewed some real doozies, but who's some of the people you just get shocked with?
You know, that is a tough question because I've interviewed everything from movie stars, celebrities, to athletes. I am going to have to say, though, Brett Michaels, he is a real treat to interview. And he's a big Supercross fan, so he's out here supporting as well. It's just really neat to see all the guys here. But, you know, every year you just feel a little bit more comfortable and just happy with where you're at type thing. And the fan support is incredible. And we couldn't have better fans. So I love where I'm at, and I have no intentions of going anywhere anytime soon.
Now, Erin, we all say it in the business and everyone else is saying it. All the interviews must be so tough for you now because the riders are just 101 PR now these days. How hard is it to get something different from these guys?
It is a lot more challenging than what somebody might think. Actually, some of the riders have been spoken to regarding that because when I ask them a question, it's not about thanking their sponsors, it's about answering the question and incorporating your sponsors in there as well. So it's tough. Some of the guys get it and some of them maybe they're learning. Depends on the question, you know. I'm the girl that has to ask the questions that sometimes they don't want to be asked. So it's a big family. Some weekends they love you, some weekends they hate you, and you know, as time goes, things blow over and it heals, but it's a challenge to get an honest answer out of any of these guys, especially if there's an injury involved.
What do you think about the Australian riders? Have they been good to you?
They've always been great. I'm Canadian, so I've heard that Australians and Canadians, we jive pretty good. Of course, Chad, one of my favorites, not only as a rider, but as a person. He's an incredible guy.
Erin, it's absolutely been a pleasure, as always, catching up with you. You're fantastic. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in Australia very shortly, we hope.
I hope so. I'm hoping to maybe come on over and check out the scene in Australia. I've yet to make it over there, and I've heard it's a lot of fun, so I'm waiting for an invite. Maybe I'll come over for SuperCross there.
You've got my invite any day.
Thank you. I love it.
This week, we'll be taking a look at a couple of sensational Pirelli products perfect for keeping you at the front of the pack, regardless of the conditions. First up is the Pirelli Scorpion MX Mid-Soft 32, which is a tyre of choice for many of the top and championship-winning pros in Australia and Europe. The Scorpion Mid-Soft 32 is an aggressive motocross tyre optimised for use in intermediate to soft conditions, but let me tell you, it works across a wide variety of terrain. The tread patterns on the Scorpion are what really make the difference, with the layouts of the knobs on the front and rear giving direction and stability, and V-shaped knobs improving braking stability, cornering edge grip, and providing a high level of traction. The Scorpion MX Mid-Soft 32 is available in a variety of motocross and mini-cross sizes, with the very similar design Scorpion XC Mid-Soft also available for enduro riders in 18-inch. Next up is a Pirelli mousse that can replace conventional inner tubes in off-road motorcycles and is basically a foam insert resembling an O-ring. Technically speaking, it's actually a ring of butyl honeycomb foam, with self-pressurising agents creating compound gas bubbles that has virtually eliminated punches, and is now regarded as an essential piece of equipment by off-road riders. Pirelli mousse has a significant advantage over normal inner tubes, as they do not and cannot be punctured or burst, and has been developed by Pirelli for expert racers who just have to finish, no matter if it's a trail ride with your mates or a round of the World Enduro Championships. To get your hands on either of these great products, just ask at your local bike store. Yeah, some great products there by Pirelli. Okay, now it's almost time for our bike review, but before we do that, don't forget, this year on MXTV, we're running a massive competition. Now here's how to enter.
This year on MXTV, thanks to KTM and bikesales.com.au, you get the chance to be one of the first people in the world to win a revolutionary new KTM 350 EXCF. The bike that's ready to turn the enduro world upside down. The revolutionary new 350 EXCF is brand spanking new and one of the most anticipated releases ever in the enduro world. With a lightweight chrome moly chassis, modern bodywork and a new PDS rear suspension, combined with the compact and powerful new 350 EXCF engine, this bike is the ultimate for any real enduro enthusiast. The prize also comes with a complete set of riding gear from Fox Clothing, a handy Kinchrome dirt bike toolkit, and a fantastic oil package from our friends at Motul. It's an unbelievable prize valued at nearly 14 grand, and it couldn't be easier to enter. All you have to do is go to www.bikesales.com.au, click the MXTV competition banner, enter your details, and you're in the running. The winner will be announced in our final show of the series, but keep watching the show each week to find out how you can win. So what are you waiting for? Head to the bikesales.com.au website, get your entry in, and you could be riding away with this truly incredible prize.
It's a huge competition, guys, so make sure you go to bikesales.com.au and get your entry in. Okay, it's time for our bike review, and this week we've got something a little bit different for you. Let's see what we've got.
In today's bike review, we take a look at the 2011 Kawasaki KLX140L. The Kawasaki KLX140L offers a host of kid-friendly features, including an adjustable throttle limiter and a keyless on-off switch that makes starting quick and easy. The KLX140L also has the added advantage of a progressive manual clutch, beefier suspension, race-inspired ergonomics, pedal disc brakes, and hot new lime green and black graphics. The KLX140L is available in Australia right now, and for a competitive quote on your fire and theft insurance, contact QBE Insurance, the motorcycle insurance specialists. Okay, let's hear what Cam and our guest tester Lukey Lee thought of the bike.
I'm Luke Lee and I'm 16 years of age and I've been racing for 11 years now. Just moved out of the A grade junior ranks. I'm currently racing as a B grade senior. When I first seen the bike, I just looked at it and said, man, this is going to be fun today riding this.
KLX 140,
They're always great fun to have a ride on. Brilliant bike for what they're designed for.
Really good engine for like a beginner rider, just to learn how to ride. And the disc brakes on the bike work really good. It's really good just doing stoppies and just playing around and doing slow monos and just hitting the back brake. It pulls up really good.
A bike like this, it just appeals to an absolute beginner, anywhere from probably 10 to 14. The power is that smooth, the clutch is easy, the brakes are decent, it's got electric start. All these things make just for really easy to ride, easy to get along with bike. And if you were to get your girlfriend into riding bikes, this would be the perfect bike to do it on.
I'm about 5'4" and I didn't really feel big on the bike at all. I could feel like I could throw it around just like any other bike and just have fun.
If I was going to change anything on this bike and I was a kid, in the day just try and get a little more power out of it, maybe with an exhaust.
I've had 5 of these bikes. I'll just put a bigger seat on them, probably put a slip-on pipe on them, stiffen up the forks a bit and just go out with my mates and just bash around the backyard.
The KLX140 doesn't like deep ruts, got quite wide foot pegs, and when you start hitting big jumps you're probably going to have to beef suspension up so that it bottoms out, and it's not designed to do what I'm doing on it, especially at 75 odd kilos. So apart from bottoming out and nearly breaking my wrist, I had a good time. Great little bike, and use it for what it's designed for, and you'd probably go for quite a long time and you have a lot of good times on it.
It's a really good beginner bike. Like, you could teach anyone how to ride it and they'll be just fine. I would love to have one, just chase around the cows and just have fun riding it.
Yeah, big thanks to Lukey there for stepping up in the bike review, and we certainly will see him later on in the year. Now, Belly, I think you must have taught him pretty well.
Come on, mate, we know that's not my gig, but he did a great job anyway, didn't he?
He sure did. On behalf of myself, Lee Hogan, Brendan Bell and the whole MXTV crew, that's all we got time for this week. Until next week, make sure that you hold it on.